name is Charles Hall. I'm into racing and into horse racing. I came into the business at the age of 13, and my father was into it for 50 years. That's where I got the interest in it. He brought up a family in it, and I assumed that it was a good business to get into. I started out with Miss Judy Johnson, which taught me everything about horses, of everything about horses that you possibly couldn't think of. From riding, training, medication, everything. How the horse anatomy is, she taught me. When I came out and was looking for a job, she got me a job. And she went to the trainer and told me I was ready to go on the racetrack. She would not let me come to the racetrack until she thought I was ready. I thought I was ready a year before. She told me I wasn't ready, which in the long run I wasn't. And I got a job with Mr. Haymaker at age 18. I graduated out of high school and I went to work for Mr. Norman Haymaker. He carried me to Florida, and he taught me how to be a gentleman on the racetrack, which I carried through all my life of 60 years on the racetrack. In 1951, I was 9 years old, and my job, I said I had a job selling programs, but it was recycling. Recycling the programs was, we would hustle the programs from the early betters, which was 7:30, and resell them to the later betters, which was 7:30, 8 o'clock. It was maybe $1 for the program. We sold them for 25 to 50 cents to get school money. It was at Law Raceway Trotting Track. Later became Free State. You would know it at Free State. The Francis family bought it in the 80s and closed it up in the late 80s after obtaining Law and Pimlico racetracks. I grew up in Law, but on Whiskey Bottom Road, my Indian grandfather owned 59 acres of property, which was given to my father's family, and we lived on it all my life. And it was next door to Savage and backed up to the Law Raceway, which the Hudson family owned and lived and had race horses adjoining to the property. And we went over there a lot as kids, and we went to Savage for recreation, swimming and playing baseball and stuff. It was no sign of segregation there, but Law Main Street, eventually, after getting a certain age, I knew it was some segregation there. My mother always sort of protected us from going there. to law in Main Street. She worked there. She had to walk, I guess that's 4.5 miles every day to and from one of the best, one of the nicest ladies that was down there. It seemed like she owned the floors in law. And my mother worked for I guess a whole lot of years. Must have been 25, 30, maybe 40 years. I don't know how long she worked for until she died. And I didn't experience any kind of racial involvement until I went to Hialeah in Miami, and it was a prestigious racetrack to go to. You had to have high quality horses. I went there with Mr. Haymaker, and he had a Derby horse, and we went there, and he worked mostly all black, and we experienced, we couldn't go into one of the kitchens down there. We had to eat in the black kitchen. They had black kitchen, white kitchen. And Hialeah Race Grandstand, Hialeah Grandstand was the same way. It had a section for black cassette, which it was like a ball stadium, and an enclosed nice clubhouse for the white to go in. It was a beautiful place. I can't knock the racetrack does. The racetrack was fantastic. It was like going into a garden or something. But it was fantastic. But that's the first time that I had any kind of segregation of experience. I went to all black school in Simpsonville, Atherton High, and later became Harriet Tubman. And right today, they will not let the building that it is have Harriet Tubman on it. The state had not let them put the name Harriet Tubman on that building. I don't know why. On Main Street of Law, Maryland, my mother used to work for the shop right across the street. I can't believe that it's still a flower shop and is still doing business in Law, Maryland here. And my mother walked from Colesville, as they call it, to all the way down here to work every day, 5 days a week. One of the best horses that I've been around was Pro Bitter. I worked in Bud Depp was the trainer, and George Cusimano was riding him for all those races that he won. And he was a very difficult horse to take care of. When he came to me as a 3-year-old, first time 3-year-old, he was very difficult for anybody to be around. He was like 17 hands, and he took up the stall. And I took 3 months to get the confidence for this horse to trust me to do something to him. He had a laceration on his back hind foot that no vet, no person could touch. And it took me and a half month before I could touch it, and he would allow me to touch it. And after that, I got in touch with it. I got confidence in it with the horse, and I worked with that horse from his 3-year-old year to his 5-year-old. And George won a whole lot of races on it. I don't know the exact number that he won on him, but he had won 5 races and consecutive races in a row, more than once. And every race that he ran in as a 4-year-old, they set track records. And I think he got beat twice by the best sprinters in this country. But really was appreciative of me taking care of that horse and helping in the shed row. Yeah, again, the Pro-Bitter was really the horse of Bud Delp's career. All the other horses came later. This horse put Bud Delp on the map. This horse, in the late 60s, early 70s, this was the horse in Maryland. And New York, he went to New York, got beat the nose up there by the best sprinter up there. He come to Monmouth Park and he won. He went to Atlantic City and he won. He just missed the John B. Cameron in Bowie by a nose because of the band being in the infield. George Cusimano came back and said his concentration came off the racetrack into the infield, and that would cost him getting beat by a nose. And I think that was the career starting for Bud Delp before Spectacular Beard or any one of them. This was Bud Delp's big start in stake horse racing. This is the horse that put Bud Delp on the map. This is Pro-Bitter with George Cusimano on him, winning the race at Atlantic City in 1971, and he equaled the track record that day. And that's me holding him in the winner's circle as a proud groom. I really like this horse because him and I is one of together. One of the top jockeys that I had dealings with was George Cusimano. That he was good as Kent DeSalmo. He was a contract rider for Buddy Delp, which I was working for as a groom and an assistant. And he got into drugs and he was killed at an early age. He was riding a nice horse that I was taking care of called Pro-Bitter in the 70s. And he won a lot of races on Pro-Bitter for Bud, and was one of Bud Delp's first major stake horse winner. He lost control of his car leaving Delaware and was killed. And everybody said it might have been drugs. It could have been. It was early after training hours, so you don't know. I don't know. I want to mention how good jockeys is, and the definition of a jockey and a race rider. A race rider has a brain like a race car driver or airplane operator. They know what's going to happen before it happens. They plan the race before the race is run. Jockeys get on the horse and just ride the horse. And you get the Ken Sasamos or like George Cusumano. They're gifted riders. Pat Day, those kind of riders is gifted. They got a gift. It's like a professional football player. He goes on the field, he makes the game. It's just like, and the race riders makes the race. They can have a horse with less quality and do more than a jockey have a lot of quality and do less, because they think different, they ride different, and everything is different. It's day and night. That's why you have professionals and you have unprofessionals. And riders have to understand the difference in it. Some of them is gifted and some of them is taught. Yeah, the horses ran, when I came around, they ran clean. The medication wasn't heard of Butte or Lasix or DMSO, all kinds of freeze and ice tubs. And when a horse came to the paddock, straight from the barn with no medication. Nowadays, you got everything under the sun in horses to get them to the races. The trainers today depends on veterinarians, and the veterinarian business is booming. Everything you can name, the vet have to do before the horse trains, before the horse run. It's getting to be out of control. I think I read in the Blood Horse that they're starting to do away with a lot of the drugs that you pre-race. There wasn't considered anything about pre-racing when I came around. And 30 years of me rubbing horses, it wasn't a whole lot of pre-race. Nowadays, everybody pre-race horses. There's no horses running clean anymore. And years later, I went to work for Charlie Hadry Sr. And he had a barn full of nice horses too. He had a horse called Private Turn that was coming up as a 2-year-old, and he had a little injury, and then again I took care of a nice horse injury where put him on the verge of winning nice races. He had a little problem with his heels, and some old remedies took care of it, and he went right in 14 days and win 100,000 here at Law, which at that time, the 80s, which 100,000 was like $1 million race. And he eventually wound up winning the Wood Memorial in New York. And that was a really nice horse that I had been around and helped to get to the way he was a genuine stake race, stake horse. And Private Turn went on to win the Wood Memorial and ran in the Derby, Kentucky Derby, come back, run in the Preakness. He was that good a horse. they have a handicap here, still here, run here in his honor of the private turn handicap here in Maryland, which is an honor to be connected with those kind of people and those kind of horses in this business. I'm not bragging, but I seem to be connected with really nice people that went on and had very successful training careers in this business. Later, I went to work for John Ford, which we started out with just a few horses, and he wound up with 50-some horses and splitting his outfit, and we bought some trainers around and that was underneath me, boys that come out of high school and went and had successful careers. Stephen R. Brown, Pat McBurney, that still is at Mama's Park, is one of the top trainers at Mama's Park. I taught those boys how to put on bandages. And James Parley, he was one of them. All of them came out of Bowie High School and went and wound up being trainers in this business. In my career, I've worked for a lot of good trainers, but I worked for one that treated me like a son. He taught me the right and wrong of the horse business, how to handle the horse business, and how to carry yourself and act in the horse business. He taught me not to let anyone tell you how to train your horse. If they want to hire you to train a horse, you train him. If they come in with a condition book and tell you where to run the horse, then you tell them, you take the condition book and carry it to another trainer, because you hired me to train the horse, and the trainer make the decision where a horse ability to run at any time. Tuffy Hacker was the trainer. He got respect from everybody he touched. He respect most everybody in this business on the level that they wanted to be respected. He was 100% honest to anybody that wanted his advice. He told the truth. If you didn't want the truth, you didn't go to Tuffy, because Tuffy would tell you the truth. And I try to be the same way. I try to tell you the truth. Harrison Johnson was his name, and they have a race here for him every year. He was a very outstanding trainer, and he had about 20 horses, and he was up and qualified with all the trainers here in Maryland. And he was a black trainer, and he died tragically in an airplane accident in the 70s. And I never got the chance to really get to know him, and I really admired him. He was one outstanding black trainer that came through law as a trainer. This is the horse that helped me through all the hard work that I put into this business. Commander Hall. He's a son of Commander Control, which was owned by Mr. Manfuso, which gave me a free breeding to a Diana's doll. And Tuffy was the main person that made this happen. He was like a father to me. This horse was ridden by Kent DeSarmo the first time, and he told me, gave me one little pointer that made this horse win 4 races in a row. And he said, send him along. He said, Charlie, and he was a bug boy at the time. So you know what kind of rider he wound up being to give me that kind of information as a bug boy. He is really, really responsible for this horse winning 4 races in a row for me to have a decent life in this business. When I came for entertainment, I used to come to Baltimore to the Royal Theater. I seen Tina Turner, James Brown, Fat Domino, those kind of entertainers, and enjoyed myself. It was very, very congested down there, and a lot of blacks lived in that area. It was really all black neighborhood down in that area. It was very reasonable to go to, because I think a high price ticket was $9, $10, and you could get up front seats, and parking was $2, $1 or something, and you could go in and out, and they managed the place quite well. Then up around Pimlico was real good in the late 50s, early 60s. I had a very good time and very relaxing time. I was young, and I was down around Lexington Market and those places, which was very good. It was ran mostly by white, and it was very good, and they catered to the black neighborhood. And at Pimlico, we, which was mostly Jewish, around Pimlico in the late '60s. Sinai Hospital hadn't started yet, but in across Park Heights and Belvedere was a lady and a gentleman called Mr. and Mrs. Briggs. Had an eatery that all the old racetrackers went, and it used to be called Pitch Till You Win. And you go there and you pay $5, and you could eat as much as you want, as long as you want it. At which I couldn't eat but one plate, but it was enough for lunch and dinner, and it was nice soul food for everybody, and a lot of white workers, riders, and everybody went there with us to eat, and we enjoyed. They had fried chicken and everything. I mean, everything you would want on a country table, you could eat. Corn on the cob, everything. Beans, string beans. They had soups, collard greens. You name it, they had it. Certain days they specialized in certain meats. Had a special certain meat that they had. Be a rib day and everything else, pig feet day and everything else and stuff like that. I had a very good time there with the old fellas. Mostly the old grooms and hot walkers and stuff. They trainers and everything went there to eat. The line would be out the door, and it'd be like from like 9:30 to 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But you go there and eat, because guys would go in there and wouldn't drink but a cup of coffee in the morning, work till 9:30, 10 o'clock, go there, eat, and wouldn't have need but a sandwich for dinner, and it would last you all day. And you could drink whatever you wanted. They didn't serve no alcohol or nothing. You could drink ice water, and they had iced tea, the best iced tea you will ever want, and you could drink as much as you want. And it was very good, and it was a nice experience for me, because I learned from the old guys how to get along on a racetrack. Well, it's people ask me about slots and the racetrack. I think it's like oil and water. The two don't mix. It's a separation there between slot machines and racetracks. Most of the racetracks that I've experienced that have the slots has problems of some kind, one way or the other. Is either the care, the upkeep, the people that works there, the financial problems. Is always some kind of problem between the racetrack and the slot people. I am so glad that Maryland did not fall in that trap with the slots people and take the slots into their establishment. All the ones that have the slots in this grandstands and in the establishment having problems. I wish that I could say much better things with the way they're doing. It's a big thing when you see racetracks like Penn National, which was doing good, and Charlestown, which was thriving, and Delaware, which was thriving, get slots and go in reverse, and it seem like it's getting worse every year instead of better. The more money goes into the racetrack, the worse the racetracks get, and the worse the rules and operation gets. I hope this ain't a strike against them, but I think the two don't go together. They ask about what type of person comes into the horse business. I have to answer, a very special person comes in the horse business to work and make a living. It's a very special person that comes and want to work 7 days a week, get up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and get home at 7 o'clock at night. a lot of people say that a lot of people on the racetrack uses drugs. I've been here 60 years and I've watched the drug people, the people that use drugs. When I first come here at age 18, it was like 10% people using alcohol. And I've been here 60 years and it's still 10% people using cocaine and marijuana and alcohol. I don't think the drug has risen any higher than any place in this United States, in any other business, than the racetrack. I think, and I've stayed pretty well on top of just about anything and everything around the horses. And this is one thing that I'm pretty well up on, is people using drugs around the horses. Well, the big thing of the racing business is making it better for everybody. You get so that the very, very bottom horses is going to have to run somewhere. But they're making the racetracks super racetracks, where the top horses, top trainers, top jocks, top grooms, hot walkers, everything going to come together at these racetracks. It's going to be big racetrack, big money, and big time racing. And it's going to involve the European horses. It's going to start coming. They're starting to come. They're going to be plentiful over here because it's a lot more money to make in the United States in horse racing than in Europe. The European horse racing is sort of being isolated to a certain amount of trainers. It's not like in the United States. The United States, although it looked like a lot of trainers is getting 14, 15 grade 1 horses and they run against each other. But it's starting to spread. Little guys are getting the grade 1 horses too. So therefore it's going to be better racing in these United States racetracks because they're going to come together and be big racing facilities. Big, huge, pretty racing facilities. That's what they're starting to make. That's what it's going to turn into be. Now, if you don't upgrade your racing stock, you're going to have to go and race at the little cheap racetracks that can survive the racing.